What's up, folks, and welcome to Pilot Review this week. I am Captain Blade J52, the crazy bug hunter of the group. Timber's having some technical issues, but hopefully will be able to join us soon enough. But joining me as always, we have TeacherKirby.
Hey folks, how's it going?
And our master of the RP corner, Artie.
Hey guys.
Anyways, folks, we've had some pretty fun stuff going on this week. For me personally, I finally got my Keldon, yay! But
Yay.
one of the big things I will point out right quick is, since I am hosting this week, on the stream you're probably not going to see the articles, but you will see them pulled up in the recording later on screen. But anyways, for our first big thing, we have the Steam Runner deal has made a return on the PC. Can hopefully see this on the recording later on. It came back for around 2,500 Zen on the C store. You get the Blockade Runner Tier 1 and the Tier 5. And also some updated models with it as well. Seems to be pretty good from everything that I've seen. If you were somebody that purchased, and already pulled it out for us there, if you were somebody that already owns the Steam Runner from the original Steam deal, you don't have to purchase this again. But this is more so for the people that never had the chance. But anyway, since Artie was cool enough to pull the ship out, what's some of your thoughts, dude?
Honestly, I really like that they've opened it up to anyone just on the Zen store, because it used to be the Steam-only bundle. So now that it's opened up, a lot more people can access the ship, and we can do more builds leaning towards the Steam Runner. I've already gotten a request to do a role-play version of the Star Trek Armada version of the Steam Runner, trying to try Cobalt on it, see if I can get long-range damage, that sort of deal.
Okay, sweet,
Cool.
sweet. And Kirby?
Well, I haven't actually played with it, but some of the feedback I've been getting is that they found it interesting they did it as $25. The old Steam bundle was apparently $60 from what I've been told. But they have left out some of the things that were in the original Steam Runner bundle. So, but at least you can get the ships, which a lot of people did want. And you get not only a Tier 1 ship, but a Tier 5 as well. Or Tier 6. Is it Tier 5 or Tier 6?
5.
Sorry.
Tier 5.
Tier 5, thank you.
I wish it was Tier 6.
So, I know, right?
I wish it had a fleet version.
Yep.
I know.
Well, that's, for me personally, I want to think that I paid maybe $30 originally for the Steam bundle. I don't want to think it was hardly $60, but it could have been, I don't remember. It's been a couple years since I bought it. But we'll have that in the notes for everybody there. Definitely glad to see the Steam Runner back. I do think it does suck that you don't get the other little goodies like the bridge officers and stuff like that if you're starting out, because that was if you were just starting a new tune, that could be a godsend, because here you are, you've already got good stuff starting out for your tune. But it is what it is, I guess. And our next thing we have is the Dreadnought bundle coming for our console gamers. This is the Yamato, the Kara, and the whatever the heck the Klingon ship is. I cannot for the life of me think of the name. Let's see, where's it at? The Colossi Siege Destroyers. There we go. But yeah, so for those of you that were a fan of the original Galaxy X from the episode of TNG All Good Things, then you're going to have a chance to fly the Tier 6 version, the Yamato class, which I believe that's a non-standard version that Artie's just pulled out, I believe. But very great ship. You'll be able to see some of the stats in the article they're talking about. Now, whenever you buy the pack, you're going to unlock the ability to claim the ships. I do want to point that out for everybody. When you buy the pack, you're going to unlock the ability to claim the ships. It's not necessarily going to put it in your inventory like a regular pack will, because it is cross-faction. So all you'll have to do is go to the C store and look for it in the Tier 6 section, and you can claim it there. I've had these ships for a while. On the PC version, the Yamato is, I would probably say, my second strongest ship, give or take, and definitely fun to fly. But anyway, Kirby, what's some of your thoughts?
I've flown the Yamato. It definitely is a strong ship. I do like it. I haven't flown the other two, but I think that it is good that these ships are coming to the consoles. It does give console players a bit of variety. So when they get to that Tier 6 or that Vice Admiral rank, it gives them some variety with what they can play. I do think it's going to be interesting how they're going to deal with the specialist seating, since they don't have all of the specialist things unlocked at this point, do they?
I don't think they do yet, still. I've not been on the console in about a week or two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think that's going to be interesting as they continue moving on with this, so...
Indeed, and Sir
But those
Artie.
are my thoughts, yes.
I'm echoing Kirby a little bit, but I have to agree. It's all three vessels are a good vessel to fly with, and since consoles more or less brand new compared, it would be a good thing to have such a ship in it for some of the experienced players or some of the higher ups to have fun with, basically, so they don't get bored with whatever ship they're using. So I'm glad that they've added that in.
Indeed. Some very good thoughts all around. One thing I am going to be interested to see is, I don't know if you guys remember this, but whenever they brought out the Tier 6 version originally, there was a bit of an issue where the lance actually didn't fire from the correct spot on the ship. So I wonder if that issue's going to happen on the console. So that's going to be a fun little thing to see.
It might. I'll laugh if it does.
I hope it doesn't, but just be aware of that, console players. That's an issue we did have. Hopefully you guys don't have that, because even though it didn't really affect the ship at all, it was just, from an immersion standpoint, it's one of those things, it's just like, oh my god, why can't they fix this? But anyways, that's...
Yeah, it fired from the nose of the ship, didn't it?
I want to think so, actually, now that I think about it.
Yeah, can you imagine that? Just having a giant cannon sitting in 10 forward?
Would be funny. But anyway, we'll have all this up in the patch notes for you guys, everything, and in the article I'm seeing here, I don't think they actually put up the stats for the ships yet for you guys to check out, but very fun ship.
The stats is the next article.
It is.
We do have the stats in the next
we do
article.
have the next article.
Surprise!
Uh-huh.
Okay, I thought that was the other ships. My bad. Okay, so apparently we do have the stats for you guys. So, if anybody's curious for the Yamato, I'll go ahead and I guess I'll just read off the bridge officer stations. We have a Lieutenant Commander Tactical, a Lieutenant Commander Engineering / Command, a Commander Engineering, a Lieutenant Science, and Ensign Universal. So, fairly adaptable in that area. And this also does have a hangar bay as well. It comes standard with the Type 8 shuttles. And then it also has the Spinal Lance that you can use. Then we have the Colossi Siege Destroyer for the KDF, and it can utilize the Groomba costume for free. Got a Lieutenant Commander Tactical, a Commander Tactical, Lieutenant Commander Engineering Command, Lieutenant Science, and Ensign Universal. Then you can hopefully see the console layout in the article there on the recording later on. Then finally, for the Kara Dreadnought, this is the one for the Romulans. It has an Ensign Tactical, a Lieutenant Commander Tactical, a Commander Engineering, Lieutenant Science, and Lieutenant Commander Universal Command. So, definitely some big differences there as far as their layout goes. Anybody have any thoughts on that?
Personally, I think the Romulans get their side of the deal since they get the Lieutenant Commander Universal slot. So, yeah. From what I can tell, all three, they're a good mix from their seating. So, there's not really any, not showboating, really, but it's more like not one is stronger than the other. It's usually depending on how the players work. So, I feel like it's quite even there.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But I would definitely say the Romulans, as far as stations, to get the better into that, they get not only a Lieutenant Commander Universal, but that's their specialist seating with their command, so definitely it's interesting.
Indeed. They could potentially, if I'm counting it right, at about 5 potentially science abilities, assuming they didn't use the command, or either way, still pretty good setup. The one gripe I know I had with mine was the Ensign Tactical. Not necessarily because of, I don't have a tactical ability, but just because I guess what I'm trying to say is it's limited in terms of the availability as to what most people would use. As far as if you're running a beam boat, you've got Fall 1, Tactical Team, Chemicide if you've picked that up, and then maybe a beam overload if you just want to throw something on there to throw something on there, but that's about it as far as that kind of ability goes.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I'd like the Lieutenant, because I'd like to be able to put, a FA 3, FA 1, Pirate 1, and then a debuff like, attack pattern beta, something like that. Of course, it could fit in, but it's hard without that Lieutenant as your second.
Indeed.
So I mean... So I would lean towards using the Lieutenant Commander as a tactical, and then putting putting a command ability like maybe overwhelm emitters, or putting ending up with 3 ensign tactical slots and putting 2 of the tactical teams, and then I can't speak tonight. Chemicide. Yeah, that's what I was
that
thinking
one
of.
thing.
Yeah, so at least
one thing that makes things go boom.
Yeah, that thing.
Yeah.
With the letter in the name,
Ensign slot, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, overall...
That one thing. It's going to be the show's title, I'm telling you. It's going to be that one thing.
Overall, good ships. I definitely like them. That, like I say, that was just my only gripe with it. I kind of wish it would have been an Ensign Universal. But, again, overall, great ship. I've had fun with it when I've flown it. It's definitely one that I would recommend you check out and everything. But, anyways, moving right along, we have our Infinity Box. There was some pretty cool stuff added in with that. Go ahead and move that over to the other screen. For me personally, one of the big things... Yes, and this is for the PC, by the way. The Infinity Box has made a comeback. For those of you who may just now be hearing of the Infinity Box, it contains all of the stuff from the previously retired lock boxes, with the exception of the Kelvin box at the moment, which will be the next thing that gets added in. Now, so you're not having to go back and forth between tons and tons of boxes and taking up unneeded inventory or extra inventory. They essentially crammed everything into one box, so if you're looking to open boxes, this is one to consider, even if you don't pull the thing you're after, such as, say, a Tier 6 ship pack. You might pull a Tier 5, or you might even get lucky and drop the Ultra Rare box with the Vamp and now the Archeros in it. But one thing I was definitely excited for was the Tier 6 Keldon has finally made its migration over from the console, as has the Jem'Hadar Dreadnought and also the Heavy Escort Carrier. And you can see on the screen there, hopefully, for the game, that I personally finally got my Tier 6 upgrade like I was after. Then, oh my god, is he pulling out a Keldon?
No, I don't have one. I wish.
I was going to say.
I wish I had anything like that.
It was our silent guest departing the channel, but anyway. Getting back into this, which one of these articles was it? Da-da-da-da. If I can see for
Infinity
crap.
Lockbox.
There it is. I couldn't see in the tabs there for a minute. Yeah, it's kind of off screen on the recorder, but I had like 2 or 3 tabs open. I just could not for the life of me tell which one it was. But anyway, my potential screw up aside there, the Keldon, the Dreadnought Carrier, and the Heavy Escort actually replaced their Tier 5 versions in the Infinity Box and in the low-buy store. So if you're somebody that's looking for the Tier 5 versions, then you're probably going to have to go back to the old lock boxes in order to get them, or hopefully pray to the RNG gods that you find somebody that actually did have the old Tier 5s. But you can kind of see some of the stats that we have from the Keldon there. As far as station layout, we have a Lieutenant Commander Tactical, Lieutenant Engineering Intel, a Commander Engineering, an Ensign Science, and a Lieutenant Commander Universal Intel. So, very interesting layout. I personally was hoping it would be a command ship, but I can live with this. This is still pretty good. Everything. Then, one bit of interesting that it does have is the Spiral Wave Disruptor Lance console, which essentially fires a Spiral Wave Lance. Whenever you get hit, it disables one subsystem, and it does a 30 debuff to all damage resist. So, very fun there. Also has I think it's a 20% increase to disruptor damage, and also a 12.5% decrease in the cooldown time of Intel BOF abilities. So, very fun there. Then we have, finally, the Insidious Starship Tactics, or freaking words. Words hard. Anyway, the Insidious Tactics, and while you have that slotted, anytime you activate the Aceton Beam, Surgical Strikes, or Torpedo Transport Warhead, you will gain a 1% critical hit chance and critical hit severity buff, stacking up to 3 times, with the crit severity being 5% per stack and the crit hit being 1%. So, very fun little trait there. And then, lastly, for the Keldon, it also does come equipped with 4 Spiral Wave Disruptors on the ship, and one thing that did make the Galore a desirable ship, part of it anyway, was the ability to purchase additionals. So, whenever you buy the Keldon, you will be able to purchase additional Spiral Waves from the not low-buy store, but Dilithium store for a bit of Dilithium. And these currently, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Kirby, the only weapons in game at very rare that have 4 mods to them, which is Act 2 and DMG 2. And they are disruptors.
Sounds about right.
They're disruptor damage dealing, and they have also the phaser proc. So, very fun little weapons to have there. But scroll on down and check out the Jem'Hadar Dreadnought, some of the stuff on that. But anybody have any thoughts on the Keldon, the Dreadnought, the Heavy Escort, anything?
I'm happy that the Keldon finally came out. For an RPer, as of recent, I've been getting into stuff that deals with the True Way coming in, and since we've only had the Galore as a ship to use, we've had to basically go into foundries and limit our group to 5 people for any mission. So now that we have the Keldon out, we could finally build a Cardassian fleet to go up against. And we can do PvP, and it will be fun. So, it's really great on my end.
Right on. Well, I know this was one that you were looking forward to, Chris.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I'm very glad that they've kept to their word that they will not make something PC exclusive or console exclusive. So this was one that a lot of people were wanting to see. You know, they saw it being released for console and they were going, hey, what about us? And, you know, so they did keep to their word and they're releasing it for PC, so I'm glad to see that. It's sooner than I thought it would be, but yeah, I am glad to see that. So,
Indeed.
and here's hoping that I'm able to afford one soon.
Yep, that is one
Wise.
thing I will warn my fellow PC players about, is the prices on the ships are still very volatile at the moment, which obviously understandable since it's not been out that long, everything. So kind of shop around, keep an eye on it, and you might be able to get a better deal depending on whenever you get on. Now, one thing I did find interesting this time around is, if you guys remember, it was actually the Dreadnought carrier that was in the low-buy store for the Tier 5s. But this time they swapped it around and put the Heavy Escort in the low-buy store. I don't know if you guys caught that, but that's one thing I did find kind of interesting and everything. But,
Yeah, definitely. That's interesting.
yep. As far as the Dreadnought and everything, I like it, but at the same time, I don't like it, if that makes sense. To me, it's just too much in some aspects of a departure from the traditional Dreadnought. I mean, yeah, they've got some updates, but to me, it reminds me a lot more of the battleship that they have, instead of the actual full-on Dreadnought, is the kind of vibe I get from this. But I personally haven't had a chance to fly the Jem'Hadar ships yet for Tier 6. I've not been lucky enough to get a second Tier 6 ship box for the Keldon or anything. But yeah, for me, definitely I'd been looking forward to the Keldon for a while now. I'd wanted one for a couple of years. Everything since they introduced Tier 6. Now I finally got it. I will confess to going through 139 keys to actually get it.
Oh my! I went through 30.
Yeah, I went through 139 keys. So
Nice.
don't be like me unless you have a lot of EC or cash and just don't really care. Because the key bug will bite you, and then you're gonna be missing your house, your car, and a bunch of other things that you'll hawk just to get keys. And yeah, let's not do that.
Yeah.
But, fun and
So
joking
you're taking
aside,
a bike to work.
yeah, pretty much. But the fun thing I will mention for some of our PE people out there is, if you like the look of the Galore over the Keldon, you can use the Galore skin. Now, one thing, actually, me and Artie were talking about before the show that I think does kind of suck is the little tail fins that are on the Keldon at the back. I tried to see if it would let me put just those on the ship without the extra little bits of hull, but sadly it wouldn't let me do that. So, a bit of a sad face there, but overall very fun. Different materials, updated models. Definitely recommend you check it out. But, moving right along, finally, we have our bonus marks weekend for the console. Let me move this over here. So if you're somebody that's been looking to get your reputations going from Thursday the 13th until Monday the 17th at 10 a.m. Pacific, you will have the bonus reputation marks. During this weekend event, content that provides marks will reward 1.5 times its normal mark rewards. 50% bonus is applied to the base rewards for all content that is eligible for the daily bonus marks. So definitely get out there, get your marks going and everything. Very fun stuff. So if you've been...
It is, and...
go ahead, Kirby.
I was going to say, for those of you, if you're going, well, I'm not level 50 yet. Okay, that's great. But you can do things like going to, for example, Defera. Defera Ground is open to all levels. I'm not sure if they can make Romulan characters yet on the consoles.
You can.
Because I know they didn't release it. Okay. So the only ones that have that limitation on when they can get there is Romulans. They do have to choose a faction first. But once you do that, the Defera Ground, for example, is open to, all levels. They scale it up. They scale up your gear, and you can actually have a character that is low level be more powerful than a character at the higher levels at 50 to 60 because of the scaling. It's actually quite interesting. But you can get Omega marks and Fleet marks from that. So that's something, if you're saying, oh, well, I'm not level 50 yet, well, there's something you can do, and at the very least build up fleet marks, if nothing else, for you to donate to your fleet later on to get the gear and other things that you're going to need later on.
Yep. One thing I do have to wonder, though, since you mentioned Defera, is if any of the bugs from the PC have made it over there. Hopefully not. I really hope not, because some of the missions can bug out to where they're uncompletable.
Yes, they can.
So be prepared, console players, if that is a thing. I hope it's not, but if it is, let me know, because that's part of my job to get that fixed. But anyway, any thoughts on the Marks Weekend, Artie?
No, really, it's, if the bonus marks helps out with reputation, that's a good thing. You can get your extra gear, and as an RPer, you can make your ship look pretty with the shield stuff, so that's fine by me.
Well, there you have it. Get out there, farm them marks, trade them in for some extra dilithium if that's your thing, whatever you want to do. But very useful if you're wanting to get that last minute bit of marks or whatever it is. But moving right along, we have, it will pull up for me, here we go. We have our patch notes from PC. Pretty much some of the stuff we discussed, the updates to the Infinity Box. We've got the Steam Runner that came out for the C-Store, moved over there, the lore model being updated. That, and aside from the ships coming over, that's about all I see personally that stands out. Anything for you guys? About Artie, we'll start with you.
Not really anything pointing out. I do realize that they still have the Aquarius not able to equip the inertia dampener field item, so that's as far as I got. I'm surprised that they haven't added the visual book to the known list, since I'm sure plenty of people have poked them at it. But
yep. And Kirby, anything for you?
Resolved an issue where Voth anti-proton arrays dealt phaser damage under beam overload.
What?
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Stuck out to me. I'm like, really?
So apparently, from the way I read that, what was going on already was if you had a Voth anti-proton array, you'd hit your beam overload, and then when it fired off, it's dealing phaser damage instead of AP. So yeah, that's a
weird one. I gotta say, that's a weird one.
Yep.
At least you have a chance to take out a subsystem.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. That is true, I guess.
This is true. However, it does mean if you're running anti-proton consoles, which you should be if you're running anti-proton arrays, you're not buffing the overload now.
That's also true. So it had its drawbacks, but it had some interesting stuff as well, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I'm just imagining someone that had anti-proton arrays and phaser attack consoles just ready for it.
Oh, that would be hilarious.
Oh man, I gotta change it back now?
One thing I will mention, since we do have a couple people that play Ground that are friends of ours, resolved an issue which caused some kit modules to not be affected by kit readiness. So,
yeah.
If you were somebody that had a lot of kit readiness and that was a stat that you like to rely on, then that's probably going to be of very big interest to you. And also, one thing that somebody did point out to me, I will say really quick, the Tal Shiar Adapted Destroyer and Battlecruiser now have the correct icons. So if you're looking to buy one off the exchange or wondering what the heck was going on, that should be fixed finally. Yeah, not a lot to these patch notes this week. Maybe we'll get a little bit more next week. Maybe some information on some of the new stuff coming out and everything. But we'll have this in the show notes for you guys to check out, and you can see the changes they've made, everything. And hopefully some of y'all are able to get some of those new ships in, check them out. But moving right along here, we have the Conquests RP blog for some of the new stuff that's going to be coming out. This is Ambassador Stas, I guess that's how you say his name, the big Klingon Gorn dude,
Yes.
pays a visit to the Lucari station and kind of gives her some advice, the station person there. It's,
They also give her a ship.
indeed, an old school Gorn ship. I know you're the big RP guy, Artie, so I'll pass this to you first. Any thoughts?
Honestly, I like that they finally put in a KDF side thought into the into this little part of the story, because as you remember earlier, we had Paris and Nog talk to the same person, trying to see what her idea about the ships were, and try to work with that. Now that we got the KDF in, we get their idea of what's going on, help her with that sort of stuff, and we'll see how it works from there. I wonder if they're going to bring in the Romulans in for the next story.
It's a possibility, I guess.
That is a possibility. I'm wondering if, they're talking about they're building, the Lucari are building their first ship. I'm wondering if that's foreshadowing, because we are coming up on the winter event.
It's possible.
If it's foreshadowing to what we might receive as the winter event ship.
Who knows? It could also
or
be
the
part of
anniversary
the
ship.
It's possible.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me pose... Oh, go ahead.
Because if we the new part coming out, Artifacts is coming out soon, so it could be tied in with that. So
It could be.
Indeed. Let me pose this one to you. And, suppose you're right for a second, Kirby, and everything, and it is foreshadowing for one of those events. You think that whatever they decide to go with will end up being what we get, such as, say, if they go with the science route or what have you? Do you guys see that being a possibility, maybe?
I think so.
I see it more of if it is like an anniversary ship or something like that. You have to use the reputation and gain little tokens to put in from doing like a featured mission or something. I feel like that it may give you a choice box, like what we said earlier when it first came out.
Okay.
So you have to choose one of the three, and maybe you'll have to get extra marks or whatever to get one of the other two whenever you get it. So
Be an interesting way to do it. Now, here's one I actually do want to run by you as well, Artie, for the Gorn giving them a ship. Do you perhaps see this maybe as potential foreshadowing of them trying to prod the Lucari towards making it a warship?
probably.
Could.
Ambassador Stas never said it was a gift. He even mentions it that it's an opportunity. It's an old Gorn vessel. It's serviceable. It's something to base things off of. So it's basically giving them the idea of they could use it as a defense ship before they have their actual starship out, or they could modify it in some sort. Who knows? I see it as it could potentially make them a mixture between how the Gorn has their combat vessel and make it into a more science vessel. So who knows?
An interesting take, I suppose. But, anyways, this would normally be where Timber would do a budget builds thing. We don't really have Timber with us. I know he's got something down there as far as a video and everything. So, we'll save that and let him do that this next week. And hopefully he'll be able to join us and everything. And explain the video. All that good stuff. But, normally this is where I'd take over for the bugs, so I guess I'll go ahead and yak for a minute. Not that I haven't already, but one thing I am seeing as far as for my Xbox One people, there's a few people that are reporting they're having issues with the bug hunt mission. They'll get to the final portion of the mission after the cutscene. Their character, this one dude specifically, his character disappeared, and so did the boss. He couldn't shoot anything, and actually tried to restart his console, but he had no luck. So I know a few people are having that issue, and I don't know if it's on PS4, so if anybody plays PS4, please let me know if that's an issue and everything, because that's obviously a queue-breaking or game-breaking thing as far as that mission goes. So try to get that in, just let us know, hey, this is when I'm seeing it, all that good stuff. The next big one is, this is actually for the PC people. The new Jem'Hadar Dreadnought, the Tier 6. Some people are saying that they can't launch their strike ships like they could from their Tier 5 version. But if you're somebody that had the bug ship for your Tier 5 version, then you may have had the bug ship pets that you could launch from the hangar. And you're supposed to be able to equip those and use them on the Jem'Hadar Dreadnought. If you're seeing this issue, please let them know. Please file a report. Drop me a message. Drop Artie, Kirby, or Timber a message. Let us know. Let one of them know, they can get it to me. I can submit it however it needs to be done. But as far as that one goes, that's going to be very annoying for people until that's fixed. So, especially if you're seeing error codes with any of this stuff, those are pretty good as well. Then, one issue I actually did run into earlier today is if on my temporal agent I was using one of those temporal assignments from the lockbox, it was actually showing me using KDF officers as a Federation player. So, if you're somebody that likes to use those to level up, let me know if you're seeing that, or if it's just me hallucinating and I have DOFs that took on KDF pictures. Not really sure how to explain that one, in all honesty.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. And then I had one actually yesterday. I forgot to tell you about. I was playing the mission Takedown. And I got through, I got through to the 4th front, Delta front, and I went to go send in the doctor with the hierarchy, I believe it was, and it just stopped.
Stopped?
It didn't do anything. It didn't send in the doctor, the enemies didn't spawn. Nothing. So I eventually had to leave the mission and go back in, and it started me back at Alpha Front.
Weird.
And I had to go through the whole thing again. Yeah. So.
Yep. There's actually two final ones that I'm seeing that I'm going to touch on really quick. We'll move on to our next segment. One of them, some of the PS4 players are reporting, depending on what ship it is, they can't visit their starship interior, only the bridge. So if you're using a ship that has more than one deck, such as, say, a Galaxy class as a hypothetical, they're not able to access the other decks. So if that's happening, please let us know. Then finally, some of the PC players are reporting that the Jem'Hadar Dreadnought are not actually gaining their experience, not getting their mastery like they should be. So that's a very, very big one, obviously. But as always, folks, I will say, please report this stuff. Try to say, this is when it's happening, this is how I got it to happen. The more information you can give, the more information that we, the bug hunters, have that we can use to try to reproduce it, and the devs have as well for when they try to reproduce it and everything, and it can get fixed a lot quicker. We still don't, as of yet, have an Xbox or PS4 specific forum, so if you're seeing these bugs, please just go to the regular one that the PC players use, and just put something in the thing saying, hey, like say PS4, colon, and then whatever the bug is that you're experiencing. But anyways, that's about all for my segment and everything. If you're noticing some bugs, feel free to let me know. But TeacherKirby did her video for this week on the Soul Defense set It's one that you've probably seen me
Yes.
use in a few videos, but anyways, Kirby, why don't you tell us what you've been able to accomplish this week?
Yeah, so I did the Soul Defense Set. I actually liked this quite a lot when I was building up my tank build. It was a very nice placeholder until I could grind the marks to get the Iconian set, which is my final one. So a couple things to remember: you do have to be level 59 to play the mission that it comes from. It does come from a mission, so you'll have to play the mission 3 times. But it is a very nice free set for somebody who's trying to break into tanking. So it is very nice. So I go over some of the stats and things like that. And the 3-piece bonus is also very nice for a beginning tank build.
Indeed. Then,
Yes.
one thing I would like to add to that as well, since you talk about tanking. One warp core you may want to consider, since the Soul... I don't know if you covered this in the video or not, but I'm going to say it anyway, because reasons. But since the Soul Defense set does not come with a warp core, you're going to have to source one, either from your fleet, from another mission. One that I like to pair with that is the Temporal Overcharged Warp Core from the Butterfly mission. So,
Okay.
now, I like it. It's a good warp core, I think. If you were here for the Delta recruitment event, you're probably familiar with the Temporal Negotiator device. It's essentially the same thing as that, except in the form of a warp core. So, very nice little thing to have. But,
Yeah, it is.
We'll have the link for her video in the description and everything, so you can go check that out. Everything, and learn some stuff that's fun and about a good set in the game. But coming up on our Man of the RP Hour Artie's segment here, I want to hear this. Playing a Star Trek villain. What have you got for us, dude?
Okay, so you all know that Star Trek has its good guys and its bad guys, of course. I have seen quite a few people choosing to play as the bad guy for whatever event they're running or anything. I mean, not only GMs like to do it, but a lot of players just ask if they could have a bad guy as their entry into a fleet or a RP community, just to be that. Personally, in my fleet, I've encountered many people that have role played as the villain, and we see the person often. We see the guy show up like out of the blue, walk up to the bar and say, "Hey, the bar is closed. Everyone out. You're all confined in the quarters because we're not having any alcohol in the station anymore," or something. That's not really a bad thing, but depends on your stance on that. But personally, there's a villain I would like to point out from my own fleet's events. His name was Admiral Grant. Basically, what he did was fabricate illusions and putting out secret information out, and basically bringing our group of the fleet into war with a neighboring species, which is a rivaling empire that was basically the size of our little section. And it was he was basically just all of us were like, no, we don't need war. We're here for scientific stuff. And he's like, well, I'm gung-ho for war. I came out from Task Force Omega. War is my thing. I'm ready to kill something. Hey, that guy looks like a worthy adversary. I'm going to poke him until he gets pissed. So he did that and plunged our entire group into war with them. And our own characters are like, oh my goodness, something's going on. So our own crew basically was ready to mutiny. And one of our own guys apparently faked his death because the admiral was ready to kill him just to get him out of the picture. And he and his entire ship was which was a galaxy ship. It's hard to hide. Just decided to hide and fake their death. So everyone thought that we were going to lose, and they immediately just burst out of nowhere and save the day. The admiral gets to go to prison. That sort of thing. That's a good story arc. It went from bad guy starting things to bad guys now in control to bad guy now falling. So Personally, I ran as one of the henchmen, so that was fun. But yeah, I got to fly my own little one of the battle cruisers and got to fly it in the battle and shot my own ships. Oops, not really. Did that on purpose. But
Interesting.
yeah. Close to recent, mirror characters have been joining in on our fleet. Not really actual characters that we see often, but we've had multiple instances where our doppelgangers from the Terran Empire and such come over to our side chasing who knows what, like bounty hunters and that sort of thing. And they would hide in, civilian groups, not trying to get anything poked out, but use our Prime Universe characters like access codes and retina scans, that sort of thing, since that stuff is, the same no matter what. And use that to get into secret areas, stealing information, and then leaving before we get the chance to stop them. A lot of stuff like that's happened with us. That's recent. It's very fun trying to be your evil, very strong, very smart person that knows every inch of a station because they probably built it from the floor up on their side. So that's my thing. What do you guys think?
Interesting.
It
is interesting.
That's something else, man. That's finding your. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, you're about to say something.
I was gonna say finding your own mirror self. That would be kind of interesting, because what I'm kind of seeing with that is it would be kind of a how well do you know yourself, and can you outthink yourself type of situation. So, kind of like the perfect mirror match, I guess you could say. No pun intended, but... Okay, pun very much intended, but... So yeah, that's a very interesting take on that, man.
Oh, yeah. So, I would like to, go ahead and just keep continuing on with this with my own personal experiences, because I can. Well, for my own character, Artie, she's a hologram, and a couple months back she ran into an incident where she somehow gained a actual body. Like a replicator somehow copied down her parameters and everything and made her a flesh tissue kind of thing as a person. And that apparently became, had a corrupted program in it, so it became her doppelganger, replicant, evil self, technically. And basically what happened was you had Artie trying to be good and everything, and then what we came to dub as Repla Artie, being a evil, sadistic kind of person that led a army of replicated goblins all over a starbase, taking over everything. So we basically had a mirror match until Repla Artie decided to steal a cargo shuttle, filled it up with all her replicated people, and scrammed out of the starbase and out of everyone's way, just escaping. And we haven't seen Repla Artie come back yet. So we're waiting for Repla Artie to resurface and cause mayhem in the Zenith Expanse soon.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. Sounds like you've got
very interesting.
Quite a bit of story there, dude.
Oh yeah, it was very fun playing the villain. Just winking at something and a console explodes. Done.
Heck yeah. Anyways, folks, we're coming up on about the hour of our show. But, anyways, was that about all you had already? Did you have anything else you wanted to say?
Yep, that's it.
Okay.
Nope, I got the bad guys out of the way.
Sweet. Any closing remarks, anything, final thoughts, anybody at all?
I will say for the Infinity Lockbox, since it just came back, stock up on those things. Because as soon as they go off and go to the next box, they will not come back until the next box later. We need those things. So
yes.
And as soon as they go out. Yeah.
You might also want to take a look at the prices of some things like chemosite-laced weaponry or plasmonic leech. Things that were high EC items will probably drop during this replay with those because they are quite easy to get while the Infinity Lockbox is is available. So,
Oh
just
yeah.
some tips there.
Anyways, final thoughts from me. Hashtag T6Keldon for life. I mean, what? But, anyways, folks, that's pretty much our show for this week. Hopefully you've enjoyed everything. But we'll have everything in the uploaded show notes for everybody, so you can check that out. Check out some of the different events. And check out TeacherKirby's video, all that good stuff. But anyways, folks, hope you've enjoyed the show this week. Hopefully Timber will be able to join us again next week. He had some technical issues tonight. And now I get to say it just to annoy him. Timber, you sir are fired! But, but all joking aside and everything, hopefully he'll be back next week with everybody, and we'll get back to the show as normal. But anyways, folks, for this week, this is Captain Blade J52, and we're heading on out of here.
Good night.
See ya.